Hello. It's been a while. And I just had to get this video out because actually this is a very relevant topic. And again, I seem to cover topics that many people on YouTube you never see them cover, which is strange. But anyway, so I have begun replaying through Deus Ex Mankind Divided. My first playthrough was I didn't care for it and I just got bored of it. And this current playthrough, I am having all types of fun. And I'm wondering, why is that? What could cause this? And then it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I started thinking about other games like Mirror's Edge Catalyst, like Dying Light, and it is the curse, another curse on the game industry of the skill tree. The skill tree makes people put away good games. Deus Ex is a perfect example of this. Mankind Divided, that is. When I initially played this game, I was bored as anything. You know, the resources were scarce. You know, there was the biocells also. They ran dry really quick, and it just felt boring and generic. And then I go back and play it again. I'm having a blast because I have a lot of the skills, as well. I have a lot of the skills. I have a lot of the crafting materials. I have a lot of, the skills I have, many of them are at their max. And it's just, skill trees take a lot away from a good game in the attempt to, quote, make the player play their way or some shit. And some skill trees are good. Some they regress the game. They take too much away from the player. I saw this in Mirror's Edge Catalyst, where there were basic functionalities you had in the original Mirror's Edge that they took away from you. Oh, in the new one. As well as, to me, Mirror's Edge, it didn't really necessarily need a skill tree. To me, not every game needs a skill tree. Many games you could just get around by just introducing these new skills to the players as the game progresses. It doesn't have to be, and you have to give them, and Deus Ex should have done this. You have to give the players that feeling of I'm a badass. I guess that feeling of, you have to give them that impression of, I'm badass right now and I could be even more badass down the road, where you give them enough skills or enough functionality at the beginning that it's fun, and you feel, like I said, you feel like a total badass initially. I apologize, that didn't necessarily make the most sense, but if you play these games, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Dying Light, I also had that same issue, where basic shit was, you couldn't do it when you were a low level. And God, Dying Light, I actually had to watch. I stopped playing it after I bought it. After a little bit, I had to watch someone else beat the game. Then I had to slog through the first, I want to say 10 hours. My God, that was a bitch. To get to where just to get where a base level of fun. Not, and that's another thing. Deus Ex, it was not that base level functionality when you had just a few skills. It wasn't fun. You have to give them enough to where it is fun, and give them that badass feeling. And that's why and that's another reason. So the reason I even restarted playing the Deus Ex campaign, well, the main game, was because I played the Criminal Pass DLC as well as the one where you enter, what is it called? Oh, System Rift, where you, one, you're in a prison, you've been taken to a prison before the events of the game, and then two, you've been you're infiltrating this highly secured vault in that's owned by the Santa Group, which you visit in the main game. Anywho, it was what made me keep playing it was they gave me a base level of skills to where it was fun. And that's something that many games don't give you today with skill trees. They want you to just fucking just build something out of nothing, almost. You know, here in Deus Ex, Adam Jensen is like some super badass, yet he doesn't have, basic skills that have to be upgraded. It wasn't like, this game was not fun the first playthrough. It was fucking boring. And it was frustrating as hell. That's why I actually stopped playing this game, my first playthrough, for months. I would come back every few months and play it and just get bored out of my mind. And this is why the whole story actually kind of feels disjointed to me. But the DLC was really, really good. And I still got to play the one where the bomb's gone off, because it actually, for some reason, they want you to delete a bunch of your saves for that shit. I don't ask me. Anywho, so again, same thing with Dying Light, same thing with Mirror's Edge, and those aren't the only ones. It is so... It just... Skill trees can be good in certain games, like Far Cry, in particular Far Cry 3 and 4. Far Cry was trash. Far Cry 5 was trash, excuse me. Same thing with Primal and all that other bullshit. Those were trash. 3 and 4 were the best Far Cries. 2, if you like that whole survival aspect. You also had... There was a few other games where you had skill trees that were... It was good. And the thing about skill trees is... Again, this is for any... if any dev ever watches this video... if you're going to put a skill tree in your game... Just have it where... You have a base fun factor. And I know, they're like, oh, we do all the QR testing and what? And you know how much QR testing is done on fucking Rainbow Six Siege maps, as well as the maps in the new Modern Warfare, and they're all generic as hell. Nothing is memorable about them. They just all feel generic. That's the problem right there. So please don't come to me with the quality control argument. That holds no weight with me. But to close out this video, I'd love to hear what you guys think about skill trees. Where does the line stop between where do we draw the proverbial line between fun versus progression? And as well as where do we get off? Why does and no one ever asks this question. Why does a person who everything about the game says they're a total badass have to build themselves up with basic skills? That's another question. Once again, I'd love to hear everyone's